This is the U.S. intelligence agency, mind control.
When we think of the Islamic State, also known as ISIS or Daesh here in the Middle East, we conjure images of men dressed in black, looting, killing, and terrorizing people in their path. But do we know the history of the lands and the peoples who have suffered the attacks and had to live under this organization's political and ideological
because
system?
I've seen him unblurred.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Among these peoples are the Yazidis, a people with beliefs and customs dating back out.
But
what's YBS?
It's the PKK Yazidi branch.
Ah, okay.
So they specifically defend the Yazidis.
Long before the birth of Jesus Christ or the Prophet Muhammad, and still today the bearers of ancient traditions and culture. Most of them live in Bashur, their ancestral home. Over the course of their history, they have suffered more than 74 genocides. Today, they number only a few 100,000, many of whom live far from their actual homelands. 10 years ago on this day, the Islamic State in Iraq was at the height of its power and influence. Solidified by their control over Mosul, people given the option of being massacred or being forced to live under Islamic State law, museums and archaeological sites dating back to the Neolithic period were looted and destroyed, and the group continued its terror route towards the Shingal Mountains to enforce its rule over the Yazidis. The Peshmergas of the PKK, responsible for their defense of Shingal, disarmed the population and fled. The Yazidis, armed with only a few Kalashnikovs, responsible for the Shingal Mountains to enforce its rule over the Yazidis. The Peshmergas of the PKK, responsible.
The Peshmerga of the PDK disarmed them. Really?
Yeah, no, actually, there's video of them literally shaking hands with ISIS before the Shingal stuff. Meeting on a bridge, shaking hands, because it was like, basically, it's like you can save yourselves.
It's a self-preservation thing. Fuck me.
Solve the Yazidis and we won't come for you next, basically.
For the defense of Shingal, disarmed the population and fled.
You notice how he says it though,
with only a few
PKK, because that's like because they pronounce the letters differently.
Yeah.
So he's saying it and like how he hears it around.
Yes.
Facing the heavy weapons that Daesh looted from Mosul, led a valiant resistance to the invasion of their homeland. Their martyrdom and determination are still celebrated and remembered to this day. The rebellion gained precious hours in warning the surrounding villages and enabling the population to flee, but also gave an important message to their people. Where they embodied the strength to defend their land, it became a symbol of resistance.
Those girls look very young.
Yeah. Well, Yazidi is a little bit of a different culture.
Okay.
Try to flee into the mountains.
Because they've been isolated for a very long time. So there is some more... look at the Yazidi girl who's stoned to death, you know?
Yes.
So it's very, very conservative there.
Yeah, okay.
In different ways. They hold true to like tradition. So like one of the issues with repatriating Yazidi, I'm choking. It's because they have kids, because they're raped, they're sex slaves, right?
Yes.
So they're kids in that custody. Like that's the only attachment that they have, right? So their kids end up being something that gets them through that. And those kids can't go back with them to the Yazidi community.
Because they'll be ostracized.
I mean, they'll kill the girl instead, like, in some cases. Right?
What the fuck?
So, like, the girls integrating back have to basically go to an orphanage that specializes in separating those children from the mothers. And those children are orphans of Daesh. They don't get to have good lives.
That's fucking crazy.
They basically have to, and it's not just that. So, like, they just found a Yazidi in Gaza. And ISIS, they sold her to an ISIS member there. He's dead, but the Palestinian family still won't release her, and she says that she won't leave without her kids either. It's a serious problem. Serious problem.
It is a problem. Interesting. It's one I am not going to comment on. It is not for me to comment on.
But that's some of the stuff I wanted to talk to this guy about. Was like how different is it, like, because you know, in other places that you could serve, like, to how you, like, even if in certain situations in Iraq and Afghanistan we had to like implicate certain dress codes, you know, because of certain things, like, you know, how different was it to like accommodate these customs to make sure that you were like protecting, because they're there to protect these people who are being genocided.
August sun, without food or water, including young children and the elderly. Others are caught or killed. Men, young and old, are executed in the thousands and thrown into mass graves. Women are separated from their families, sorted, and taken away to be sold and forcibly married to Daesh soldiers. Some throw themselves over the mountain to avoid capture. The Ypg guerrilla and the Ypg and Ypg of Rojava rushed into the region to open a protective corridor into Rojava to support the evacuation of the population. After many months of fighting, they succeeded in liberating Shingal with the help of the local people. To this day, thousands of...
That's YPG?
Mm-hmm. Here you go. Well, I think you said HPG.
But like the green is generally
not necessarily.
YPG.
No. It's just there's different. That's a common
Yazidis are still
scarf you'll see throughout Kurdistan.
Yeah. Okay.
Lost in the hands of Daesh or have yet to be discovered in lost mass graves.
I always say the Kurdish fighters always have some kind of like neck scarf on that's like colored sometimes.
It's just like a Kurdish thing.
Yeah. Okay. I wasn't sure.
Telling the story of the genocide means preventing others from telling it. It means knowing your enemy. It means preventing them from forgetting or denying it. Like Erdogan's government, which to this day denies and forbids discussion about the genocide of the Armenians in 1915. To tell the story of the genocide also means telling the story of a people's resistance and raising the question of reconstruction and rebuilding. What kind of healing is possible in the face of the collective trauma? To emerge from these horrors, the Yazidis have chosen a revolutionary path, that of organizing themselves, protecting themselves, and choosing their own destiny.
What's with the choice of the triangular flag? What's up with that? Because the YPJ and YPG also
could ask him.
Do the PKK
if we got
use
him
a
on the
triangular
interview?
flag?
Yes,
they do. Okay,
I'm
so
yeah.
curious.
They have regular ones as well.
I wonder why. Why the triangle?
Rather than waiting for others, the Peshmergas, the Iraqi state,
Well, I think the triangle is specifically the battle flag. See, there's a square one right there. There's a Yazidi square flag.
And abandoning
right
them once again. The Yazidis of Shingal have stated loud and clear that they are resisting, that they are still here, and they will never again let genocide befall them. To speak of the genocide suffered by the Yazidis is also to echo the ongoing genocide of the Palestinian people. To speak of these events is to refuse silence. International solidarity is more than necessary. To oppose the policies of extermination, from Daesh to imperialism, the strength of peoples organized for themselves, and the possibilities of lasting democratic solutions for the Middle East. Long live the Yazidi people. Biji Berhodana Shingale.
There you go. Look, you can email him. Go ahead and send another one.
Another one?
I mean, it's been a year since I've talked to him.
When we think of
and really, there was that whole disinfo campaign, which might have been why he broke off, because like command told him no.
True.
Are you aware of a CIA psychological profile about you, sir? Would you be interested in hearing what the CIA had to say? This secret study portrays as a brilliant but dangerous megalomaniac who is likely to pursue his own aims in disregard of U.S. interests. He's an uncertain ally. Shall I go on, or would you prefer that I stop, sir?